Hello, my name is William Van Horn, and today I'll be talking about my Summer 22 internship with Skinnell Properties. So my internship was a unique experience compared to what a lot of other CEM students will experience. So I worked for an industrial real estate developer that's all over the United States, actually. So they have projects all over the U.S. and in Europe where they build large-scale industrial warehousing. So these can range from anywhere from around 250,000 square feet to over 1 million. And they work for corporations like Amazon and FedEx, building their warehousing locations and some office space. So generally, it's a large warehouse with either factory or storage locations, and then office spacing, and then other amenities that the companies working want. So generally, Skinnell will either build the suit, which is for companies like Amazon or FedEx, or they'll build speculative buildings where they're just building a warehouse in the hopes that they'll get a tenant within that location and then be able to sell that lease. So generally, Skinnell makes their money by selling the lease obligations to some investor going forward. So Skinnell builds a building, finds a tenant, and then sells off that asset. So in terms of my personal internship experience, I worked on around 20 different projects in around 15 locations. I ended up visiting around 12 to 13 of those. Some of the biggest locations were in Indianapolis, in Brownsburg, and Greenwood, and within Indianapolis, there were around 5 different projects, one in an industrial real estate park where it had 3 different projects. And then there was also Chicago, where we had around 5 different projects going on around the city. So I was able to go and visit those with the project manager I was interning under. And then we went up to Milwaukee, we went down to Tampa Bay, and then we also had a project in Boston, Massachusetts. So I was able to go to a lot of different locations, and my boss has projects in a lot of different locations. That's just generally how Skinnell operates its project management. So the projects I worked on most closely were actually Project Foundation, which was done by Pepper Construction in Greenwood, Indiana. So I was able to visit this one quite a lot because my internship was headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana. Project Pineapple was actually in the same industrial park. So right next to Project Foundation, I was able to visit Project Pineapple quite a lot. Something unique about Project Pineapple that added something interesting to my internship experience was that Project Pineapple actually had a major fire right before I had come on to my job. So that was interesting to see the aftermath and the insurance results of that. And then there was a project in Chicago that I visited quite a few times with my boss that I was able to see the early stages of the industrial warehouse going up. So in terms of my personal responsibilities, I was generally I was a project management intern, and I was shadowing a project manager. So the biggest aspect of my job was just to watch and listen to everything he did, to take notes and to go into all the meetings, all the individual meetings with the GCs, do the site walks with him, just constantly be following, listening to him and learning. And then I'd be asking questions about what was going on after. And some of the other aspects of what I did, I was quality assurance. So especially for Project Foundation and Project Pineapple, in the last few weeks of my internship, I'd be going out there every day to check up on the projects. So Project Pineapple had a tenant that needed to move in within a month, and Project Pineapple was very behind. So I was constantly checking up with the GC, seeing where they were at, and I was representing the owner on site for Jeremy because he couldn't go down there as much, but he needed someone out there to see what was actually happening because we'd had a lot of communication issues with the GC. So you can actually see in this video, I'm standing on an eastern parking lot, looking out to where there was going to be a concrete slab and then an asphalt parking lot right behind it. Where the concrete slab will go up against the building, that's where semis park their trailers. I'd also be sitting in on a lot of owner meetings on site with Jeremy generally, but sometimes I would represent the owner and usually one-on-one meetings with the project manager or superintendent just to see how the project was working. In this other video, I'm actually standing on top of Project Foundation on the roof. And looking out on the left was Project Pineapple, and then on the right is a highway, and then this dirt pad area was actually sold off, and it was probably going to be a gas station in the future. In terms of my other responsibilities, I'd be doing internal revenue comparisons between GCs and what Skinnell had on their internal books on what different aspects of the project would cost. So in terms of my personal triumphs within this internship, a lot of it was networking. So just getting to know people within Skinnell, getting to know my boss, Jeremy, talking to the superintendents and project managers on site, getting to talk to a lot of different general contractors in different areas across the country. That was something that I really enjoyed and I found very rewarding within this internship. Another small personal triumph was actually I was in charge of getting this address for Tradition Trans created on Google. So Google and Apple Maps, that was a difficult process, but it was a small personal triumph at the end of the summer. Generally, being the owner rep on site was something that was very cool for me, being able to talk to the superintendent, knowing the construction terms that I was talking about, and then being able to relay that to Jeremy to describe what was going on site. That was a very great triumph for me. And then traveling to the different places, so going to Boston, going to Tampa Bay, seeing all those different ways that GCs approach the project, and then actually being able to see the cities themselves. Just generally being able to travel was a very cool triumph for me. So in terms of what I learned a lot. Like I had almost no experience with construction going into this. So I learned everything from what large machines did, like on the left, it's an asphalt layer, or like what a proof wall was. That's in the middle picture. So that dump truck is filled with stone, and we're checking how much the stone underneath is getting deformed when that pickup goes over it, because it can't deform if you're going to put a concrete slab on top and you want that concrete slab to last. So we're doing a proof roll and to see if that concrete slab will be able to lay down. And then on the right is the roofing. I learned how roofing systems work on a large scale. For industrial warehousing, you need a lot of roofing. So you generally have your steel decking, and then you do a membrane, which is either going to be TPO or it's going to be some other roofing system. But generally, I learned how that was attached and just the different aspects of roofing. So once again, I was able to network, and that was something that I found very valuable within the workforce. Actually, Project Foundation led directly into my next internship, which will be with Pepper Construction. So during my internship with Skinnell, Jeremy had to go on vacation for around a week. So I was able to spend a week at Project Foundation with the project manager there and with their superintendent, and I got to see more of the day-to-day operations of a general contractor. And that has led directly into my next internship, and that was something that was very cool, just being able to see the different aspects of the day-to-day and then the upper level at Skinnell. So I think this was a very unique internship experience, being with the developer, but then I'll also be able to go with the general contractor in this next summer, just to connect the dots and see how ultimately this entire process worked from the top down. Thank you.